Hello, people. It's another beautiful day. It's a sunny day recording today's podcast of This Dev Life. I hope you've been having fun, staying safe, and been an awesome developer that you've been. Thank you for joining us again on another episode of This Dev Life. Today promises to be really exciting because we have one of the most awesome .NET developers in Nigeria joining us today on the show. His name is Oludayo Ali, aka DevCruise Technologies. He's been one of the most consistent .NET developers that I know since I started development back then. We used to look up to him back then in school. He has won many competitions, represented Microsoft Nigeria in Microsoft Imagine Cup all around the world, and he's really doing awesome. He releases video every week on Xamarin, and is really quite awesome. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, Mr. Oludayo Ali?
All right, Dara, thank you very much for having me. It's my pleasure to be here. My name is Oludayo Ali. I'm a .NET developer. I started developing .NET for over 12 years now, between 12 to 15 years. Um, I work as a consultant with most financial institutions here in Nigeria to develop mobile applications and also their web applications. I also currently run DevCross Technologies, where we develop applications for both small businesses and large-scale businesses. I do more of mobile applications and, of course, more of web applications. I do other things by the side in my spare time, such as gaming. I do UI UX design. Do sometimes do 3D graphics, modeling, and animations. Those little things that we just do by the side. So basically, that's who I am and that's what I do.
Thanks very much for that introduction. So that is Mr. Oludayo Ali right there. So in the world today, there are a lot of languages out there: JavaScript, PHP, Java, that, all that. And C Sharp is one of the, would I say, underdogs of programming languages. People are like, C Sharp is Microsoft, .NET is, I don't want to touch it. Why did you decide to go with .NET then? Even at the time you decided to start with .NET, why did you go for .NET, and what still keeps you in the .NET ecosystem up until today?
All right. So as at the time I started, I actually didn't start with .NET. I started with C++. I want to probably believe most people usually try to lay their hands on C++, especially if you don't know what programming language to use. You're just still trying to research. So I started with C++, but C++ was not actually really giving me what I needed. And at that time, it looks more difficult because I was not even an undergraduate when I started. So just coming right from school and picking C plus from secondary school, and picking C plus plus, you can imagine how daunting that will be. So it was a bit challenging. So I dropped C plus plus and I picked Java in my quest to further my programming knowledge. So Java was very sweet. It was interesting, and it got to a point because I had a background in graphics. I've done graphics design, in the past before picking programming. So I needed to do things that are graphical. I love graphics. I need to see things look beautiful. And at the time, Java, the GUI for Java was nothing to write home about because you just see, yeah, that static same look, everywhere and all. So I just feel like there must be something, there must be a way how to this graphics thing. There must be a way to really build good looking applications. So in the process of researching, I then stumbled upon the then WPF. That was when WPF was just coming out around 2005, and I stumbled upon it and I noticed that you could actually add colors, change things and all. So I now look at what programming language are they using to develop this application. So I found out it's C Sharp. So that was when I got into the .NET, technology development. So with that, I just had to abandon Java. And luckily enough for me, because of the similarity between Java and C Sharp, I was able to easily, translate into C Sharp development. So with that, I started to research on to what you can do with .NET in general, and I find it very exciting. I noticed that I'm developing things that looks more like the applications that I use on my PC. So with that, I saw something that I'm familiar with the Windows form, the WPF. So I saw something that I can relate with. and it was actually exciting to be able to do something. I think my very first application then was to try to replicate a Notepad application. The popular Notepad on the system. So with that, I was saying that I was doing something that looks like what is being used out there. So that was what actually made me to just drop other languages I was learning then and just focus, with .NET development.
Wow. That's quite serious there. From C++ to Java, then to C Sharp, and then C Sharp ever since. That's really quite
Yeah.
interesting. And now you focus on mobile development, no longer Windows development. Yeah, I know you've done some Windows Phone applications back then. I remember Niger Apps Challenge, all those Imagine Cup competitions, all those health applications and stuff. Now, what made you stick with mobile development in .NET really? Why not focus on other Windows platforms or maybe IoT or stuff?
Okay, so what I try to do majorly at different point in time in my journey is to try to look at what the future holds as far as development is concerned. So, there was a time when they said that the web is the future, and of course, the web is still very, very relevant as of today. And now we all know that most of the things you want to do now, you do it on your on your mobile phones. Even if you are even surfing the web, you do it on your phone. If you want to order for something, you look for an app that helps you to do that. So it looks like so the way it looks now is that what we actually really use of recent is actually our mobile phones, and we look for applications that will help us to do different things. From budgeting to keeping up with tax. With keeping notes and other things. So the mobile phone has actually made life easier, and for it to be more easier, there will be need for applications that will help you with your day-to-day running. So that made me to really go into mobile applications, and with the knowledge of .NET C Sharp, it was easier for me to pick Xamarin because it's the same C Sharp knowledge. And with the fact that I've also learned some things in WPF in those days with XAML, it was easier for me to also pick up the XAML part of Xamarin and just go with it. Initially, I was looking at other technologies like Ionic, even before the likes of React Native and Flutter. And I was looking at Ionic and other platforms, but I noticed the learning curve for me is going to be very high because I have to learn something different. I have to learn a different framework that I'm not used to. And secondly, it looks more of as at the time I could not really see a good community around it. So even when the likes of Flutter and React Native, and the likes came, I actually don't see the need to shift because as far as I know, Xamarin Forms can do what other platforms can do. And I used to say, really, it's not really about the tool that you have; it's about your own competence. So it's not about Flutter is better, React is better. It's about the tool that you have. What can you make with it? That's my belief, and that's why I decided to still stick to .NET development using mobile
Yeah.
for mobile applications.
Yeah, and you're really one of the few that I actually know that makes awesome Xamarin apps today. I wish I could be like you sometime soon. So now you make videos on Xamarin every week. You publish them to YouTube every Monday. What is the motivation for doing that? Why really Xamarin? Why not just tell people to come and learn and then they pay like thousands of dollars to come learn that? And you release these
Okay,
free
so
awesome videos.
for a start, I said something just now. I said it's not about the tool that you have; it's about what you can do with it. So in my interaction with people over time, in fact, even with things I see on forums, people tend to complain more about what they were able to achieve with Xamarin Forms and what they could not achieve with Xamarin in general. So I picked up the challenge, and because I'm a firm believer of using what you have. Go to any extent, see the way you can make sure that you are taking advantage of the tools and the platforms that you have. So I took a challenge to research into the core Xamarin and Xamarin Forms in general, and look at the things that are actually possible with the technology. And most when I start seeing the possibilities of all these things, I feel like I should also communicate that, to other people out there. There is a way if you can't see something done. Mostly people like to see before they believe. You want to see that this is possible, and before you feel like, oh, so I can do this. Most people don't usually like to take the challenge to actually do the research and the necessary work, to find out how such thing can be possible. So I just feel like it will be my way of also contributing back to the community by, showing people what is actually possible with the same technology that they are complaining about. So that is one of the reasons why I started the channel. And secondly is there is something about giving back to the community. It also helps you as an individual. Most of the time, I do research. Try a lot of things. Look at how the best approach to to attend to the problem at hand. So with that, that helps me with different patterns. The best way, the simplest way possible. You know what to avoid when you are trying to do something like that in the future. Even in the future, if you want to do something similar, of course, you already know it. So it's not all the time. Little secret here. It's not all the time that everything I put out there is what I have known. There are times that I try to research, try to see the possibility. Sometimes, you come with some kind of roadblock, then you start to look at the ways around it. So I want to believe the difference is that when people meet such roadblocks, they just decide to just turn back. But in my own case, after meeting the roadblock, I want to look at what is the way forward, from here. And once I have that breakthrough, I'm always happy to just share it with the world that if you face this is how you go about it. And I believe that the best thing out there is actually available for free. Of course, somebody is paying for it, whether with sweat, with time, and sometimes even with money. But really, the satisfaction that comes with you giving out, it's actually it's huge, because you see a lot of people coming back with feedback that they've been facing such issues, and your tutorial is what helped them out. You feel that sense of satisfaction that you are helping someone out there, even though you can't even see the person, or even though you don't know the person. So it's that sense of satisfaction that comes with giving out. That's another reason why I decided to be putting those things out for free.
And on behalf of all the .NET developers out there, I want to say thank you for the awesome videos. If no one has said it to you before, even if they have, I want to say thank you on behalf of all of them, because it has really helped me personally. Because I realized a few weeks ago I was having challenge with the what's it called, master detail page on Xamarin Forms, and I was like, go to this guy's YouTube channel, Google and it was few. I found shells, and it was easier to implement the hamburger menu thing rather than having to use, because I wanted to have a constant feel on Android and iOS. And I got on the video, I was like, boom, boom, boom. It's that easy. And then on behalf of all of us, I'm just saying thank you once again for all those nice videos. Now, one of the things most folks don't talk about in software development, generally, they have X number of years, is their failures. I know I failed many times. I failed this year, I failed last year, I failed many, many times over. Have you had any sort of failure during your journey of development? And what does it feel to actually fail at something that you love doing? And what you learned from it, and also how you were able to scale through to still stick to development in that platform?
Okay. Well, personally, it's difficult for me to actually talk about failures, because I look at failures in a different way. Of course, failed several times, but I don't actually usually look at the failure. I look at failures as lessons. So when I meet, just like I said before, when I meet any roadblock, or when I feel like I've failed in a particular task, then I look at what's the lesson that I need to learn here. What am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? What actually caused the failure? So most of the time, I tend to move on quickly, having learned from what has happened. I don't even usually dwell more on the failure. So I think on my own part, what I can say I have failed in, it's not really in the process of software development itself. It was at the time when I was trying to really set up a software development company, try different places, at that time. And I want to believe the issue was not with the fact that I was not good as a developer. The issue was more of a business, orientation, business sense and all. Yeah, so I learned from that, from the things I'm supposed to learn. I know that I was not well equipped, to actually start. I was not even really mentally ready to start. That was what I later came to realize. So I had to go back to the drawing board, read some book. I read some books, try to look at how things have been done, and then, look at it again and see how to start. So, but in the process of software development, I can say that for every failure, the way I see, because we all agree that software development is not a one-way road. It's not you can't say this is where you're going. It's more of problem solving. So when you fail at a task, I can't really say that you failed. The only thing is that you've not gotten a solution to the problem.
Yeah.
So that is the way I look at it. And if you can do more, if you can, put more effort, research more into the problem, then really you're going to find a solution. So you will only say that you have failed probably when if you're unable to find solution to, such a problem. So so far, I think that's one of the things that has actually helped me over time. There are times that I may be on something for weeks, months, and or thereabout, but I've developed the capacity to always find a solution. Sometimes by just researching, sometimes by discussing with colleagues, talk to people, just find a way around. Find a way around until you are sure that this thing is not possible. You understand? So I may not be able to really give a straight answer as to failures. More, I can just say that there are times that I've been at different roadblocks, and what I do at that stage is to look for a way around, or to just find a way to move forward right from there.
Okay, wow. Thanks very much for that perspective on looking at failures as roadblocks rather than having them as definite, I can do this no more. But seeing them as roadblocks and something that needs to be conquered, and that has kept you up until now. Now, I mentioned earlier that you have YouTube videos and all that. I will drop the link to the YouTube channel in description of the podcast and also the video. Also, check around top here for suggestions on the videos and some of the playlists that I will be introducing to you. So, to link to his YouTube channel, because of course, I know you are hearing to learn about what he pushes out, and you're asking, if you're talking about his YouTube channels, where can I find the link? Check the description below. I'll put the link to the YouTube channel there, and make sure you subscribe, like, and share his videos also to your friends, families, and enemies. All right, so now, if you would want to advise anyone at all who wants to get started with mobile development with .NET, what advice, or maybe let's just say 3 tips, would you give to them on getting started with mobile .NET development as of today?
Okay, well, it depends on the level of the person. So if you are a complete beginner, if you are new to C sharp, let's start with that. If you're new with C sharp, then you want to first of all take a good grasp of the fundamentals of C sharp development. I want to believe Dara has a couple of videos on the YouTube channel that you can learn some of these basics. I think I've seen some on his channel. So you can first of all go through the basics of Xamarin Forms. There's this Microsoft documentation where you have the simplest examples of things that you can do with with C sharp rather, with C sharp. So just check the documentation, get the fundamentals of C sharp, and once you're done with that, then you can move on to Xamarin. Now, if you want to learn Xamarin, of course, there are also a lot of tutorials out there. My channel is one that shows you how you can move from how you can even develop complete mobile applications, or only semi-complete applications, depending on the ones that you can find, on the channel. I have the ones that are complete. I have the ones that are, just show you some of the basic things that you need. Then you find a way to, work your way out. So that is my advice for beginners. First, get a full grasp of C sharp, then move into the fundamentals. And of course, for if you are really now interested in some other advanced tips, advanced ways of working with Xamarin Forms, I have a course that is currently on discount. If you want to check it out, the link will be in the description if you want to check that out also. So that is for advanced users. But what I would just advise is this: if you're already a C sharp developer, there is nothing stopping you from taking Xamarin, to develop mobile applications, because you are going to be writing the same C sharp language that you already have. And when it comes to the UI, you can either use the same C sharp to write the UI, and try to use XAML. The choice is yours. You have, and that's one of the things I actually love about Microsoft technologies. Sometimes if you're not really used to Microsoft, you would think that they don't have focus. But really, what Microsoft is doing is to give you different options for you to be able to develop applications. So you can use C sharp, you can use your XAML. In fact, currently, if you know Blazor, you can develop with Blazor. There is also Blazor binding that is coming very soon.
Yeah.
So if you are a web developer that use Blazor, C sharp on web, you can also start to use that now for the Xamarin Forms development. So you don't have any. The bottom line is that you don't have any reason why not to start. So whether you are a core C sharp developer that just only write C sharp, Xamarin, you can start. If you are a web developer that HTML and C sharp, JavaScript, and some other things, you can also start developing Xamarin applications. And if you are from the normal WPF Windows form, you can also bring the same knowledge into Xamarin Forms development. It's actually a very this is one thing I missed out initially is I decided to stick to .NET because of the different things I can do with .NET. I told you that I do gaming by the side, so sometimes I do use Unity, Unity framework for game development, and I use C sharp. I use the same C sharp. I just learn, the 3D aspect of game development and the Unity technology itself. The same thing with web. You just have with the same language, the same C sharp language, you can develop for different platforms and for different platforms and different aspect of software development. So you even if you're not doing it currently, in a commercial scale, you can just take it up as an hobby, as a hobby, and try to do it by the side. If you find it interesting, then nothing should stop you from going full into commercial scale. I want to promise you that you will enjoy it as long as you are not the type of developer out there who usually turn back at every slight of roadblock. Because even if you're using Flutter, if you're using React Native, you still meet those roadblocks. So it's a normal thing when it comes to software development. You have a problem to solve, and you find a way to solve it with the tools that you have. So nothing should stop anybody from picking up mobile development with .NET as of today. And another good thing is with .NET 6 coming up very soon, they develop the whole software development when it comes to .NET are coming together. So you're not learning a different framework, say Xamarin, or you're using the same .NET, across all your both Windows Form, WPF, Xamarin development, it's just the same .NET. So if you can, why not start now? Because the sky is just the starting point.
And I will say thanks very much for those insights for folks wanting to get started. So if you've been asking yourself the questions, is C sharp really worth learning in 2020? I want to say, hell yeah. And what can you use C sharp for? Mobile, web, cloud, AI, and machine learning, gaming, IoT, smart devices. There's even an SDK for Alexa devices. There's Alexa.net package that you can use. So it's just so robust that you can use it for practically anything you can think of today. And Mr. Oludayo Ali has given us a lot of insights into what you can do. It's motivation for learning.net, for stillwriting.net after 12 years up until now. And of course, he'll still do it for the next X plus number of years as long as he still writes code. So I want to say thank you very much for joining us on today's episode of This Dev Life. And a very big thank you to Mr. Oludayo Ali for joining us, aka Mr. Dev Cruise Technology. Remember, I'll drop the links to all the things we've talked about, his YouTube channel, his courses, his masterclass, and some other stuff that I have to share with, of course, his Twitter profile. So make sure you go ahead and follow him, subscribe, like, share, do everything that is good to his channel and his Twitter and do. And I'll say thank you very much for joining Mr. Oludayo Ali. Any final words for us before we say goodbye to our listeners?
Well, first of all, I want to say, Dara, thank you very much for having me. It's my pleasure to be here, once again. And I just want to say that just like I've said before, if you're a Xamarin developer, you want to, if you're a developer generally, when you are faced with challenges, it may look so daunting, but try as much as possible to keep at it. In my journey, I must say, in my journey, that's one of the things that has actually kept me going, no matter what the challenge is. In fact, it has also even helped me in life. Sometimes you even face normal life, different life issues. The same knowledge of not giving up, even when you are coding, applies, elsewhere. So no matter what it is, keep at it. If you're a Xamarin developer, Xamarin is awesome. I'm also looking at contributing some other things to Xamarin, in the very near future. And when it comes to controls and other things, let's do this together. The good thing about technology is the community around it. Mm-hmm. It's not even really about the technology itself. So if you are using Xamarin, stick to it. Let's work on this together. If you have knowledge, also share it, just like how we have been doing. Dara is also doing. If you have knowledge, share it. Your channel may be what's going to save another person, out there. So, or your blog post or your write-up somewhere could be what somebody else is actually looking for. So, endeavor to also share your knowledge with the community so that the community can be very robust.
Okay, thanks very much for that. So that's it, people. Thank you for joining again on today's episode of This Dev Life. Till I come your way again with another guest on This Dev Life, I'll say keep devy, keep safe, and then, of course, have a very nice day. Bye, everyone.